I'm in London because I took part in this Converge 2 conference that was put together by the Flash Center. And I think their motivation primarily was because many of the still photographers who they service with flash equipment were under a lot of stress because they're suddenly being faced by their clients with the need to shoot video, and they'd like to take part in this new emerging technology. Largely, I think in the future it'll be driven by the iPad and similar devices where people are reading magazines and then electronic media and they would like them to move. Great, stills, but now we're into a situation where you can embed quick times and so on, and movies can actually suddenly move. First thing they realize is that if they've been working with strobe, and happily so, for 20 years or so, and I certainly met many of the gentlemen there at this conference who were suddenly realizing, oh my God, now I have to continuously light. So what are the changes for me? What are the instruments different and so on? One of the things that is satisfying is that early on in the evolution of motion picture lighting, we adopted many of the things that the stills guys were used to using. So we got chimeras, and in the beginning we used to burn them up because they weren't made of materials that would stand the heat that we put in them. But chimera got on board, and now so there's a whole range of chimeras, and you can put traditional Fresnel lens lamps, large ones with a big box. You put a 10K up and you can put a big chimera on it. But also there are rather more interesting and evolutionary lamps, and I think particularly K5600, the French lads from Paris have been designing lamps for a long time with a small 200, 400 and now the 800 bug light, which is an open face head. And I like to show this right away because you can put a beauty dish on it, you can slip on a chimera, and it's a very efficient light because it's completely open face and does great amount of energy comes out of the chimera itself because the light is not being restricted by any kind of lensing. So that is a great tool, and then they've of course gone on to make a projector system for that and a tube system, and you can get a mount where you can put multiple heads inside a large octagon box and so on. And so right away a still photographer can see that they probably could emulate pretty well the same kind of setups that they've had before by using K5600's lights. Kinoflows are the other practical light which we use extensively for filming, developed by a German Frieda Hockheim in Toronto some 20-odd years ago. I don't think there's a show in the world that wouldn't carry a dozen Kinoflows, a 4-foot variety and 4-banger, 2-banger singles. And then I actually carry a bunch of 8-foot Kinos in single and double banks as well. And then they'll go down to the 2-foot. And in the old days, very small lighting was done with microflows, tiny, tiny little 6-inch lamps that were great for hiding, and you could tape it to someone's cheek. It was fairly cool. So if they're in a love scene and you just wanted to get a little bit of a hit in the eye of the lover in a darker bedroom scene, it was just enough to do that. Great little light. But that is now being taken over by the LED fraternity. And I'm thinking particularly of Rosco has light pads, which are translucent discs in various shapes and sizes with a ring of LEDs around the outside. They come with a dimmer. You can run them on AA's. And they're tremendously versatile little lamp. We use them in car rigs all the time. And in fact, they'll fit. They have one that fits into the visor, a little pocket above where the visor would normally be. You tape it up inside there. And it does a great job on a day exterior, just to give a little bit more fill light into the eyes and help boost the face level on someone if you're shooting them in a car.